So y'all see the title. The countdown continues to 2030. And we've been talking about this topic on this channel for a while now. And we've been talking about this since what? I can't remember. Maybe since 2024, I believe. 2025 came and went. Isn't that crazy? And I'm gonna mention something as well too when it comes to time. And it's not. And I want to tell y'all, brothers and sisters, it's not just us that realize time is speeding up. It's not just us. Because we was talking about, we've been talking about this countdown since 2020. Since 2024 into 2025, 2025 came and left. Now we're here in 2026 and the beginning of this year, 2026. Oh my goodness. It's like a movie. It's like a movie script. And I'm going to tell you like this. It is a movie script. Like the script that they wrote out, is really playing out in real time. It's playing out in real time and we're living it. We're living it. We're living the script that they played out. And like I said, I feel like yesterday, I started talking about this topic of this 2030 watch, like counting down the years, right? And as far as me saying, we're not the only ones that realize that time is speeding up. The Gentiles realize it too. The people in the world, they notice, they know that something is different, but they can't make sense of it. They just understand like, yo, it's time is moving fast and time is moving extremely fast, but we understand that this is what the Most High said would happen on the earth. Christ even told us that this is what would happen on the earth. He said, like, if he doesn't cut the time short, no flesh would be saved. So now when we look at what's happening on the earth, we're not the only target. People all over the earth is the target now. All nations is the target, right? The conspiracy is no longer just against Israel, Judah, Benjamin, Levi, right? Our 10 tribe brothers and sisters. It's not only against us anymore. The conspiracy is now against the whole world. Because at the end of the day, and I've said this before, the attack is on man, which is Adam. Satan wants all of God's creation out of the way. He refused to bow to the image of the Most High, which is man. So every time he sees us, he's reminded of the God that hurled him. That's just what it is. So Adam, man, right, is under attack. And this is the reason why I said I titled this the way I titled it, because the so-called powers that be, but they shouldn't be, they want the world to own nothing and to be okay with it. They want the world to own nothing and to be okay with it. And this is being headed and spearheaded by the CEO of the World Economic Forum, y'all boy Klaus Schwab. This is his initiative. And what's so crazy, brothers and sisters, I've been looking all day for that video where he said, you will own nothing and be happy. I can't find that video nowhere. And I remember some years back, I played that video of him saying that. Y'all remember, if some of you guys who've been following me for a couple of times, following this channel for a couple of years and been watching me stream, y'all seen me put the video out of this man on the screen saying, you'll own nothing and be happy. But it's like they scrubbed the internet of that particular video. It's like they don't want new people seeing that he said that, because that's a crazy statement for him to say something like that. You'll own nothing and be happy. So I couldn't find a video nowhere. All I could find is videos of him, or not him, sorry, videos of other people speaking about what he spoke about, what he said. And I found that very weird, but I understood what that's about. They don't want people waking up, because think about it like this. If we're considered the 1%, if they're considered the 1%, and when I say them, the elites, right? The rich, the ones with influence, the ones who's behind this infrastructure that we see, the world economy, how they run the economy, how they do all of these things, they're considered the 1%. So if they're the 1%, that means that means there's 99% of people that create the 99%. So it's basically the 1% versus the 99%. But what happens when the 99% realizes, yo, they're just a minute few? How are we allowing them to do what they do to us if they're just 1%? Us combined, we can control this whole thing. And that's what they don't want. This is the reason why they separate us through classism, culture, religion, language, right? Education. They have to separate us, because if we was to all of us, black, white, Asian, Indian, African, if we was to all just to come together under one understanding, that would be the end of their 1% rule. But they can't have that. And this is the reason why they're working day and night to structure this life, or this coming world to come in a couple of years. They're working tirelessly to structure it in a way where they have complete control, where they can openly say things like, yo, you'll own nothing and be happy. So honestly, I don't even know where this man came from. I don't know who he is. I don't know how he has the amount of power and influence that he does have, but obviously he does. So let's listen to what he got to say here.
This pivotal moment, I see several priorities for the global agenda. We must continue to fight against the global pandemic. We must revitalize the global economy and accelerate its transition to net zero. We must preserve biodiversity by deploying nature-based solutions, and we must narrow the gap between the rich and the poor to achieve more sustainable global development.
So he said something that was very interesting there. He said that we must narrow the gap between the rich and the poor, so we can push forward to more sustainable global development. So they want a more stable global development. And the only way they could do that, according to what he just said, is by having the gap between the rich and the poor be narrow. And the only thing that could come to my mind about how they could actually achieve that is only by what the scripture says would come on this earth, where the world, or the inhabitants of the earth, will be given a mark, and with that mark you will be able to buy or sell. And it clearly says it there: rich, poor and rich, free and bond, right? All people. That's the only thing, according to the scriptures, that could narrow the gap between the rich and the poor. Without that mark, whether you're rich or poor, you won't be able to buy or sell. You won't be able to survive in their economy, whether you're rich or poor. So the only way we can narrow that gap is by giving you all a mark where we can control what you spend. We can control where you travel. We can control what you do on a day-to-day basis. And what's even more eerie about his statement, and not just his statement alone in this particular clip, but the whole economic forum, every time they meet in Davos, where all the world powers meet together to structure the future for us, right? And mind you, they're structuring the future for us, but we're not invited and we don't have a say in what the structure is. So they've been meeting behind closed doors for years, structuring the future, or this coming future, for the world. And according to his words, you will own nothing and you will be happy about it. There was another video, and I couldn't find it for the life of me, where in the same economic forum, when they had a meeting in Davos, they were saying, I remember if it was him or if it was the other demon, these remarks during a meeting in Davos. He said, why would you want to, this is what he was saying. He said, why would you want to own a fridge? Y'all remember when he made that statement? Y'all remember when he made those statements? He said, yeah, why would you want to own a fridge? You could lease it. Why would you want to own what he said? Why would you want to own your AC? Yeah, Yuval Noah Harari. That guy. He's saying, why would you want to own your AC? You could rent it instead. You could just lease it instead. So it's like they're putting the thought in people's mind, like, yo, yeah, you should. Why do you want to own anything? You could just, you could just rent it, and when you're tired of it, give it back and then just rent something else again. That's the mentality that they want us to have. And it's like they're trying to foster the thought of us not owning anything and just being happy about it by charging us to use things that we use from day to day. Because in their mindset, the human nature, we end up getting tired of products and we just like to buy the newest thing. And that's another thing. And that's another thing that we have to overcome. Just buying the latest, newest gadget because it's the newest, latest gadget, when your old gadget still works. They want us all to own nothing and be complicit with it. Because if you own nothing, who have the control? Who do you have to continue to go to because you own nothing? Who do you have to continue to purchase from because you don't have what you usually have every day? And what happens when you don't pay the lease for that month for your fridge? They're going to come and take your fridge because you forgot to make your payment. So now you don't got a fridge. Like, they make it seem like the convenience of changing fridges, you get tired of this fridge, you get tired of whatever it is that you're renting in your home. Yeah, just get it back and get the newest, latest one. But what happened when you miss a payment? Are they going to come repossess your bed? Because you're renting your bed, you're leasing your bed. Your couches, like, are they going to come and repossess your couch because you're leasing your couch? So they got to make it make sense. But in their mind, they want complete control over your very soul. Like, if they could control our soul, they would do that. They would find a way to do that. But that's one thing they can't do. They can't touch our soul. They could touch the physical. They could touch anything outside of that, but they can't control our soul. They can't do none of that. And I think that pisses them off as well too, because we should have permission to live according to them. And I don't know if you guys remember this video of one of y'all other favorite, Mr. Gates. Mr. Gates, how he was talking about the CO2 levels are too high.